अस्सलामुअलैकुम, मैं हूं आपकी होस्ट शुमाइला नजम। आप देख रहे हैं होप टीवी पे अपना बहुत ही फेवरेट प्रोग्राम स्पोकन इंग्लिश सीज़न 2। नाजरीन, ये प्रोग्राम हम आपकी बहुत ही फरमाइश पे लेके आए हैं और हमने इस प्रोग्राम का सीज़न 2 आपकी फरमाइश पे बनाया है। और हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं सर असद याकूब। अस्सलामुअलैकुम सर।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम।
सर, हमें ये बताइए कि इस सीज़न में आप हमारे व्यूवर्स को और हमें क्या सिखाने वाले हैं?
Okay, Shmaila, in Spoken English Season 2, viewers, I have come back to teach you very important component of English language, and this important component of English language is called the 12 tenses. You know, Shmaila, what happens commonly when the students they come to learn English, they often say, sir, tenses give us tension. So, you know, this is a great tension for the students, and viewers, get ready. In season 2 of Spoken English, I'm going to teach you all the 12 tenses, and I'm going to make sure that after learning these tenses, tenses will not be a tension for you, tenses will be a strength of you. And Hope TV is giving you this great opportunity to learn all these things while staying home.
जैसा कि सर आपने हमें अभी बताया कि इस प्रोग्राम में आप हमें टेंसेस सिखाएंगे, वो भी घर बैठे हमारे व्यूवर्स टेंसेस सीखेंगे। लेकिन सर मुझे एक बात बताइए कि यूँ तो हम टेंसेस स्कूल टाइम से सीखते आ रहे हैं और हमें पता है कि जैसे ता है, ती है, बस हमें इतना ही पता है, और जब हमें टेंसेस को यूज़ करना होता है तो हम उसको प्रॉपर नहीं कर पाते। तो आप ऐसा कौन सा मेथड हमें सिखाएंगे जिससे हमें टेंसेस का प्रॉपर यूज़ आ जाएगा?
That's a valid question. So viewers, you remember one thing, since you were at school, your teachers, they tried to teach you tenses. I still remember when I was in class 4 or class 5, my teachers also taught me tenses. But actually, you know, that was a very typical approach, and we call that grammar translation method. You know what happened actually? You were taught using the grammar translation method. There was one sentence of Urdu, and then there was one sentence of English, and you know, for our own ease, our teachers taught us that if in Urdu the ending is this, then in English it means it is the same tense. And I still remember the words of my teachers, like saying raha hai, rahe hain, etc., etc. But you know what I'm going to do this time? I'm going to teach you tenses in a very different way. Basically what we do, we learn tenses through translation from Urdu into English. That's why it's difficult to remember. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to teach you tenses through practice. Now, for example, if I'm teaching you the present tense, we are going to do the practice of present tense. I'm going to tell you where do you need to use present tense, what are the conditions, what are the situations, what is the use of present tense, and with all these things, if you clearly understand the practical use of tenses, then tenses are going to be very easy for you and you will remember them. You will not forget them. So the special thing in this season we are going to do, we are going to teach you the practical use of tenses, and this is going to help you improve your English altogether.
जैसे कि आपने देखा कि सर असद ने हमें बताया कि टेंसेस वो हमें किस तरीके से सिखाएंगे। हमें ये सिखाएंगे प्रैक्टिकल वे में, और हमें सिखाएंगे कि इसकी प्रॉपर प्रैक्टिस कैसे करनी है, और प्रॉपर प्रैक्टिस के साथ हमें ये टेंसेस सिखाएंगे। मेरा नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन सर असद से है कि वो हमें ये बताएं कि टेंसेस तो ठीक है वो हमें सिखा देंगे, लेकिन टेंसेस किस हद तक सीखना ज़रूरी है एक स्पोकन इंग्लिश को अच्छे तरीके से बोलने में?
All right, Shmaila, you always come up with very good questions and I really appreciate that. Basically, you know, viewers, Shmaila is your voice. She's asking me all the questions which she thinks they are important, and I answer those questions. Anyways, what I would say here, you know, we speak Urdu. We speak Urdu very fluently. Our Urdu is correct grammatically, but actually we don't know the tenses in Urdu language. What's the reason? We learn Urdu from our surroundings. We learn Urdu through natural way. As far as English is concerned, now the question is, why are the tenses important to learn to speak good English? Because we should have a good know-how. And commonly people say that when English people speak English, they don't care about the tenses. Actually, they don't care about the tenses, but their English is correct grammatically. It doesn't mean they make wrong sentences. I've seen some students of mine, they come and they say, sir, the native speakers speak English without tenses and their English is this and that, but actually the thing is they learn English from their surroundings. Now for instance, if I want to make a sentence in Urdu language using the past tense, the grammatical rule is in my subconscious mind, and the grammatical rule is whenever I will speak past tense, I will use the word tha. Right? In Urdu language, we've got tha for the past tense. In the same way, it is important to learn the grammar rules as far as tenses are concerned, and then these grammar rules actually go to your subconscious mind. When you speak English, now see, I'm speaking English in front of you. Do you think I'm considering which tense am I making? What is the tense in which I'm making the sentence? Absolutely not. But the rules of tenses, the rules of grammar, they are in my subconscious mind, and automatically I'm aware. If I use present tense, I will use first form, is, am, are, have, has, and if I use past tense, I will use was, were, second form, had, etc. So these rules actually automatically help me speak good English, and grammar rules or tenses rules, they are just like a formula. It should be here in your mind, and then you speak English and you speak correct English.
जैसे कि सर असद ने हमें अभी बताया कि टेंसेस को हमने इस हद तक सीखना है कि हमें बेसिक फार्मूला उसका पता हो और उसको हमने यूज़ करना है फॉर्म्स लगा के विद हेल्पिंग वर्ब्स के साथ। लेकिन अब मेरा नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन जो है सर आपसे इसी से मिलता जुलता है कि आप मुझे ये बताइए कि जैसे अभी आपने जिक्र किया 3 फॉर्म ऑफ वर्ब्स का और हेल्पिंग वर्ब्स का, तो आप मुझे थोड़ा सा बता दीजिए कि एक्सप्लेन कर दीजिए हमारे व्यूवर्स को भी कि 3 फॉर्म ऑफ वर्ब्स क्या हैं और किस हद तक इनका यूज़ है स्पोकन इंग्लिश में, और हेल्पिंग वर्ब्स क्या हैं।
All right, Shmaila, I wonder how do you come up with all these fantastic questions? I really appreciate that. Okay, listen, whenever you are learning the tenses, it's very important to learn the helping verbs. We also call them auxiliary verbs, right? And then we have 3 forms of the verb. They are also important. So viewers, if you want to get the maximum benefit from this program, it's a good idea to repeat all the verbs with their 3 forms like go, went, gone, right? There are many verbs, some are regular verbs, some are irregular verbs. Now, I cannot teach you all these verbs, but you need to understand there are 2 types of verbs as far as their second and third form is concerned. One is regular, one is irregular. For example, if I say see, saw, seen. Now, this is irregular verb because the first form is see. The second form is saw. See and saw are totally different. And the third form is seen. On the other hand, if the verb is open, it's a regular verb because second and third form can be made by adding ed. So if we make second and third form by adding ed, that is a regular verb. For example, I will say open, opened, opened, close, closed, closed. So this is the regular verb. But, go, went, gone. This is irregular verb. See, saw, seen. This is irregular verb. So you should have good knowledge, and the 3 forms of the verb you must know very clearly because otherwise tenses are going to be difficult for you. Now secondly, as we were talking about auxiliary verb, auxiliary verb is actually a helping verb. Now a helping verb helps us make the sentence, it helps us change the tense of the sentence. For example, Shumaila, if I say I have a notebook, now when I say I have a notebook, this is present, and if I say I had a notebook, this is past. So what am I doing? First form in present tense, I had a notebook, that is going to be the past tense. And for future, I'm going to use the helping verb which is commonly used in future, and that is will. Will. If you remember the last season, I taught you the sound of W. You remember? You said O, water. O, will. Will. So if I say I will have a notebook, that is going to be future. So viewers, you noticed one thing, that I just changed the form of the verb, I added a helping verb, and then there is going to be a new tense. So all the 12 tenses of English, they have a formula, they have a certain mechanism. If you learn that mechanism, learning English will be easier for you, and you know, converting tenses from present to past and from present to future is going to be very simple. I might give you another example right now. For example, if I say, I am learning English. I am learning English. Now here I'm using am as a helping verb, and this is the present state. And if I want to talk about the past, am will be converted into was, and this is the past continuous tense. I was learning English. I am learning English. I was learning English. So Shumaila, you noticed one thing. I converted am into was and the tense is changed. Rest of the things are same. And if I want to make it in the future, I will say I will be learning English. So viewers, this is how you are going to learn all the tenses. I will tell you the logic. Actually, what's the logic in the tense? If this is present simple, what's the logic? Why do we use first form of the verb? Why do we use second form of the verb? Why are we using ing form, that is first form plus ing and all that stuff? And it's going to give you a nice opportunity to improve your English tenses. If you just learn the helping verbs, the three forms of the verb, the auxiliary verbs, tenses are going to be a piece of cake for you like that.
मिलते हैं एक छोटी सी ब्रेक के बाद, कहीं मत जाइएगा, देखते रहिएगा प्रोग्राम स्पोकन इंग्लिश। मेरा नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन सर असद से ये है कि हमें ये बताएं कि ये तो सर ने हमें सिंपल बता दिया कि इनका हम यूज़ कैसे करते हैं, लेकिन अब हमें ये बताएं कि टेंसेस में वो हमें कैसे और हमारे व्यूवर्स को कैसे सिखाने वाले हैं कि ये प्रैक्टिस हमने कैसे करनी है।
Okay, this is interesting. Well, as far as practice is concerned, it is said in English, practice makes perfect. So without practice, there cannot be any perfection in your English tenses. So what am I going to do in terms of practice? After teaching you each tense, we will have practical exercises. In the practical exercises, there will be the questions, and those questions are actually the situational questions which are related to that tense. For instance, if I teach you the present simple tense, in order to do the practice of present simple tense, I will tell you we use present simple tense to describe your daily routine, right? And afterwards, I will describe my daily routine to show you how to practice. And then we will give you a question, and then you need to describe your daily routine along with yourself so that you get the practice. In the same way, for example, we are learning the past tense. Now, after learning the past tense, we will have the spoken practice of the past tense. And there will be some questions which are in the past tense, and Shumaila is going to ask me those questions and I will reply. And this is how I'm going to demonstrate how to practice past. And obviously, I'm going to share some good memories of my past with you as well. And then the same questions you need to repeat with yourselves. If you watch spoken English program on Hope TV with a group of your friends or with some family members, you can note the questions down, and after watching the program, you can sit down and you can practice with each other. Remember one thing, if you watch spoken English on Hope TV like any other program you watch for entertainment, I'm sorry, you will not get the maximum out of it. In order to get maximum out of this program, you should sit in front of the television as a student. There should be a pen and paper with you so that anything appears on the screen, you might note it down, because there will be several things which are going to be on your screen. There will be the sentences, there will be the questions, so you can note them down, and after watching the program, you can practice. So viewer, actually, we are going to make you feel that you are the part of a class. Although this is going to be a TV program, but this TV program is giving you an opportunity to become the student, and you will feel that you are attending the class, and this is how you can practice your tenses, and we will practice all the tenses like this.
जी सर, जैसा कि आपने हमें बताया कि इसके आप हमें किस तरीके से प्रैक्टिस करवाएंगे या फिर किस तरीके से आप हमें सिखाएंगे टेंसेस को, और आपने हमें ये भी बताया कि इसको आपने किस तरीके से हमें यूज़ करवाना है। लेकिन सर मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है, मुझे ये बताइए कि आपने ये तो हमें सिखा दिया, लेकिन आजकल लोग बहुत बिजी हैं, लोगों के पास टाइम नहीं है कोई एकेडमी ज्वाइन करने का और कोई प्रैक्टिस करने का। उन लोगों के लिए कोई ऐसी टिप बताइए जिससे लोग घर बैठे इंग्लिश को सीख सकें।
Okay, that can be a problem. You know, sometimes there is nobody with you, and commonly when the students, they come to me, they come up with this complaint that in our house we have Urdu or Punjabi or any other language speaking environment. When we move in the society, mostly we speak Urdu, and if we try to impose our English on our friends and family, they make fun of us, they laugh at us, and they say, what are you doing? Come on, man, you should speak Urdu or whatever the native language is. So I understand this is a genuine problem. Here, Shumaila, I would like to share my own example. When I started learning English, there was nobody around whom I could speak English. I joined a language course, I still remember, and my teacher asked me to speak English with everybody, but unfortunately I couldn't find anybody. Then what did I do? I tried my English on my younger brother. One day, all of a sudden, I started speaking English with my younger brother. He smiled, he laughed, he avoided me. He said, come on, what are you doing? Speak Urdu. But then I forced him to speak English. I did not react on anything he spoke in Urdu. And then suddenly he started speaking English. He started saying yes, no. And then I remember me and my younger brother, we used to practice our broken English all through the night. So the first thing is you need to find someone who can speak English with you. And sometimes, you know, you have to impose your English on others. You will not get the opportunity. You have to create the opportunity. You know, when I was a student, at that time, English was just like a third language, fourth language for you. But today, English is basically a language I speak on the daily basis. So viewers, the first thing is you need to find someone who can speak English with you, number one. Number two, do you know we have a self-talk? All the time, we are talking to ourselves. That is called self-talk. So for the time being, you can change your self-talk language into English. Imagine you are sitting in your room and you're all alone, nobody is around you, and it is said, you are the best friend of yourself. You are the best company of yourself. So you can avail this opportunity. You can start thinking in English. Now, for instance, if you're thinking about any past incident or past event, try to think in English. All right, last Sunday I attended a wedding. It was good. I enjoyed a lot. Food was very yummy. And I met all my family relatives. Now, you will not move your tongue. You will be sitting like, but you'll be thinking. So this thinking actually should be in English. Observe things around you, you're moving in the traffic, you're going somewhere. So you need to develop the habit of self-talk, and this self-talk should be in English. And then you will see, obviously, you will find someone who would speak English with you, and you will be able to practice your English first with yourself and then with others.
मिलते हैं एक छोटी सी ब्रेक के बाद, कहीं मत जाइएगा, देखते रहिएगा प्रोग्राम स्पोकन इंग्लिश। मैं थोड़ा सा सर असद से और कुछ पूछना चाहूँगी कि जैसे सर असद आप खुद भी पढ़ाते हैं और आपके पास डिफरेंट स्टूडेंट आते हैं, उनको डिफरेंट इशू होते हैं रिलेटेड टू द इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज, तो आप मुझे ये बताइए कि आप उनको क्या सजेस्ट करते हैं इंग्लिश सीखने के लिए और मज़ीद प्रैक्टिस के लिए?
Okay, that's nice. You know, every day I teach English, and the students who come to me, they come from a varied background. I mean, I teach students from almost all the provinces of Pakistan, and this is a great privilege for me as well. The thing is this, that whether somebody who is bearing the qualification matriculation or someone who's got a master degree in any other subject, they have the same problem. You might be surprised to know that. Actually, you know, the thing is this, that although our education system is improving now, but still the people, they find it difficult to apprehend English and to speak English. So the common problems the students are having, that is mainly hesitation. Now, they hesitate to speak English. They want to, but actually they hesitate to speak English. Secondly, they have another problem which is related to the language. Basically, I would say this is a psychological sort of thing, that they think their English is zero. Can you imagine, Shumaila, the other day a student came to my class and he said, "Sir, I want to talk to you after the class." I said, "Fine, no problem." And he took me somewhere and he said, "Sir, my qualification is master's, but my English is zero. And believe me, I was surprised to know that a student saying my qualification is master's but my English is zero, this is how you underestimate yourself. Now, I don't believe the students unless I evaluate them, right? So the same candidate, when he came to the class and I taught and he improved his language, so it's not that. Students, you don't need to underestimate yourself. Basically, your English is not as bad as the English of some other people. We study English from nursery class, right? In some other countries, they start learning English in class metric or 8th class, and for them it is very, very difficult. So what are the problems of the students? They have sometimes weak pronunciation. This is the main problem because they speak English according to their first language. Remember, your first language influences the second language. If my first language is Punjabi and I have a very strong accent of Punjabi language, when I start learning English, my English will sound like Punjabi language, right? And this is very natural. You might come out of it. So the main thing is their accent and their pronunciation. Then after this, they have some grammatical errors as well, lack of knowledge, lack of vocabulary. So these are the problems the students commonly face. And what do I suggest? I suggest them, the first thing is when you are learning English, adopt English. What do the students, they do? For example, now you're watching spoken English program and Hope TV, and after the program is finished and you're relaxed, okay, now I'll watch the program again and then I will improve my English. This is how you cannot improve your English. You should take your own responsibility. What is that? You need to create some artificial environment around you. That's what I said, adopt English. If you adopt English as a language, then definitely it's going to be easier for you to learn. If you're watching TV, try to watch some English programs. If you're reading a book, try to read book in English. If you're reading the newspaper, try to read English newspaper and observe English around you. First, you observe English around you, then you absorb English in you from these channels where you observe, and then automatically English will come out, right? And then you will see, you will surprise yourself with your own English. So that's what you need to do. You need to adopt English. Whatever the instructions I'm giving you on spoken English program, you have to adopt them, you have to act upon them, and then the main thing is this, you have to take English as a language, practice your language, and then you will be able to speak it perfectly.
जी सर, असद ने हमें बताया कि किस तरह से स्टूडेंट्स को क्या क्या इश्यूज़ होते हैं, क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम होती है इंग्लिश बोलने में, और किस तरह से वो प्रॉब्लम्स का सोल्यूशन सर असद से लेते हैं। और सर असद बाकायदा उनको बताते हैं कि प्रैक्टिस करें और कैसे प्रैक्टिस करें, वो सब आपने सुना। हम सर असद को थैंक यू करते हैं, उन्होंने हमें बहुत अच्छी टिप्स दी। थैंक यू सो मच सर।
प्लेजर।
और हम इन टिप्स को बड़े अच्छे से याद रखेंगे और आने वाले प्रोग्राम्स में इन टिप्स पे हम अमल भी करेंगे। इसके अलावा सर असद को आप व्हाट्सएप पे भी ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं और उनसे इंग्लिश सीख सकते हैं। व्हाट्सएप पे ज्वाइन करने का तरीका बहुत ही सिंपल है। अपना मोबाइल उठाइए, व्हाट्सएप पे जाइए, टाइप कीजिए AEMS और इसको सेंड कर दीजिए +92 300 8052 पे। और अब प्रोग्राम का टाइम ख़त्म हो रहा है। अपनी होस्ट हुमायला नजम को इजाज़त दीजिए। खुदा हाफिज़।